And the risk here is for those who think property investing is buying a property, renting it out. Don't worry about making any money on it because the capital growth will be my pension in 20 years, right? That is the amateur mindset of investing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That is not
so
what we're
many
talking
people think
about
like that.
because,
Yeah, everyone thinks like that.
yeah, because that is the risk. The risk is having one, as Caroline was saying. The risk is if you have one, something goes wrong, you have a bad tenant. That's when you hear all the stories of nightmare tenant
Yeah.
because you've only got one. It's your little baby. It's your pension, right? So
Yeah.
you're emotionally invested in it. Right, when you can separate yourself on that and you actually invest in the right kind of property, high yielding properties, emotion's taken out of it, and it's pure business, right? So you are looking at, you take it seriously. We teach our, anyone that works with us, we take it seriously, right? If you treat it like a hobby, you'll get hobby results. Treat it properly, seriously, then you'll get good results. So it's part of your job as an investor to understand what the mortgage market's doing and to think ahead. So we've never put all our eggs in one basket with mortgage lenders. If you look at our portfolio, we have a real mix of 2-year fixes, 5-year fixes, variable
Yeah.
rates.
Yeah.
Um, so we're always kind of thinking ahead. Well, what do we think is going to happen? We can't control it. We don't know what's going to happen. But we can think. Well, at
Yeah.
the moment,
Nobody does. And these journalists that write these headlines about what's going to happen is
yeah,
absolute
it's
nonsense.
nonsense.
I mean, the only indicators that we have as investors is what's the Monetary Policy Committee talking about? What is their sentiment? How are they voting? That will give you an indicator, but only that. And you can maybe make a prediction, but it is literally like gambling.
Yeah,
There's no point in basing any business decisions on what, could or might happen. You got to make your money now in the market that it is now. You get your tax advice for what's correct now, in the full expectation that that's not going to be the correct way to do things in 6 months, 12 months time.
yeah, and also look at the differences in what 2-year fixed rates are and what 5-year fixed rates are, because that can give you an indication of what banks are thinking is going to happen.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's why we have a real mix because we hedge it. Okay, we'll put some on 2-year fixes. Let's see what happens in 2 years. But look, if we've locked in a good rate, or there's a good rate that means that we make money on certain properties, then I'm happy to lock that in for 5 years
Yeah.
because we've set things up correctly so that we have a lot of wiggle room in those rates, and we're not that stressed about rates going up a lot because we've locked in we bought the property right in the first place. We know what the
Yeah.
rents are going to be. We've stress tested it at high yield anyway. So
Yeah.
that's a very different mindset to buying a property, crossing your fingers,
Yeah.
hoping you're going to rent it out, and then it's going to go up. It's going to double in value in 10, 15 years, and there's your pension. That's a different mindset.
And I think just don't panic.
Yeah.
And I've got a phrase that I use quite a lot, which is taking your medicine. And, kids, when they take their medicine and they screw up their face and they don't like it, it's a bit bitter. Sometimes you just have to take your medicine and say, do you know what? This tracker I'm on right now is higher than what I'd like it to be. But if I fix it now, the rate is going to be locked in for maybe 2 to 5 years. And I predict that rates are going to come down in the next 6 to 12 months. So I'm going to take my medicine. I'm going to take that hit that's a bit bitter for the next 6 to 12 months in the hope and expectation that actually, when the interest rates come down, then I lock at a lower rate that's far more palatable longer term.
But even if something happens, so like a Liz Truss situation happens again, right? It's not
Don't
overnight.
blame her. Actually, I'm going to stand up for Lizzie Girl here because her, the idea behind it was
Yeah,
correct.
the execution, and she didn't read the room. Right. So
She
that's
did.
that's that's kind of what happened there. But okay, when that did happen, it didn't. Rates didn't double overnight. They didn't suddenly jump 3% overnight.
No,
It took about
no.
it took like 9 months or something. So we jumped on that straight away, and we locked in a load of our buy-to-let portfolio for 5 years
Yeah.
at still a really good rate. It'd gone up a bit, but not massively, and we just went
It
and
was like,
fixed everything.
yeah, some of them were high 2%, but low 3%, right?
Take that now.
Which now you'd snap the bank's hand off for that
Yeah.
now.
So that was about kind of understanding what's really going on, and the biggest danger is we could have sat there and gone, well, let's just see, this could be a blip, rates could come down again. right? And I think probably a lot of people might have done that,
Yeah.
but you've got to react to what's happening. So we kind of saw, we know that the property market is slow. It plays out slowly.
Yeah.
So when something like that happens, there's going to be a long lag on it. So it's like, well, look, let's just lock it in now. Let's do that now. We'll see what happens. But actually, even if rates do come back down again, we're quite happy with those rates at for 5 years. That's all right.
Yeah.